Hello, welcome to 2024. The Don Pod. He's back for the biggest hype you've ever seen for pre-season. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. And no, that's not a fat joke for either of us. Do you want to talk about it, Nath?
Yes, I had a shave. I felt I was a bit over the Santa Claus references, and I felt like it was time to show my second chin again. Hello, there you are. You know, funny thing, my daughter, when she looked at me, goes, "Dad's got a double chin." You know? Yes, it's always been there, just hidden by the beard for years.
That's tactical. That's why you have it. I'm not okay with it.
Tan has struggle, people. I like it to be known. He's unusually annoyed by me doing something to myself. I don't quite get it.
And that's underselling it. I've had to live with this for the last couple of months of talking to you, and we changed our logo. We changed our logo to have a hat and a beard, and now the best beard we've got is this, which is not fantastic. Which, if you're not visual, my beard sucks.
Well, I've had that beard for 10 years. Like, it was.
That's all I know.
There was food in there that I found from the early the 90s.
That is all your children know you as, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know. Except when I started growing, it was a bit darker. It was less grey.
Anyway, Nathan is one of his greatest traits is he does not care what other people think. But get in the comments, please, and let's try and shame him into getting this beard back, because it just makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it.
Yeah, fair enough. Bring it on.
And it's all about me. So get on it. Just a quick...
How are you, Sam? How's your break been?
Yeah, look, great. I've moved house. I don't think I'd done that when we last recorded our podcast. I now live in the Big Smoke. No longer...
Closer to the AFNL?
No longer in the country up there with you. That's about it, really. Beard's probably like a centimetre longer than it was last time we recorded, and I haven't touched it. That's just the rate it grows. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Quick little pre-season podcast today. So we're going to talk. We've got a little giveaway, which I'm not going to give away too much, but we'll have a chat about that. We're going to let our feelings be known about the opening round saga. We can call it a saga. Nathan wants to talk merchandise and training tops, so we'll go there. And then just a couple of pre-season, what we think's going on and what we look forward to in 2024. So
yeah, and I think it's 40-odd days till the opening round. And in between there, we'll play St Kilda on the 25th, I think.
23rd of Feb.
23rd, is it?
And then the 1st of March against Geelong.
There'll be another game after that, yeah. So we might do another couple of pods in between that, just to get it all built up for the round one. Round one, not opening 0. Round. Fucking stupid mother. The AFL have the ability to get something and go, this is really, really good the way it is. So what we'll do is we'll fuck with it. We'll change things, we'll turn it upside down, and we'll flip it over and go, yep, now it's fucked.
The overwhelming sentiment on Twitter was, hey, AFL, thanks for the thing no one wanted.
Yeah, basically. They do that.
And
no one... Have you been sitting at the pub going to mates going, geez, I'll tell you what the AFL really needs. It needs an opening round before round one. That's what it needs. But not all the teams play, though. Just some of them.
Just stinks. Like, it's obvious that it's New South Wales and Queensland, so it's obvious that there's a, hey, we're scared of the NRL here, let's get into their territory. Where it's pretty well proven no one really cares about AFL. Like, New South Wales is a bit better, but Queensland, you're just not. You've got your Brisbane fans, they do a great job of being Brisbane fans. Gold Coast may well be the longest serving Gold Coast professional sporting side. Like every club that seems to form on the Gold Coast doesn't seem to last.
Yep, Titans. Right. But I guess if you pump enough money into something, it'll stay there.
Well, that's right. And I hope they do. I quite like the team, the Gold Coast. But
I think it'll be a big shift actually under Hardwick. I think there'll be a drastic improvement up there from membership as well as
other than that,
competitiveness.
Yes, we hope so. We competitive competition's good for the competition. Apart from that, you're gaining nothing from doing this, and it's just you're sending. I mean, if I was a Collingwood supporter, which let's be honest, thankfully I'm not.
You would have be a boring podcast.
Well, it would be very boring. You'd have the reigning premiers, and I think one of your rights as a reigning premier is that you have your first round game at home.
Yeah.
Their round one game should be at home at the MCG.
Rolling out a flag.
90,000 people because it's Collingwood, let's be honest.
Yep.
Not travelling to friggin' Western Sydney to play GWS. Admittedly, it's probably going to be a great game, but in front of like 7 people.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. You should get some rights as reigning premiers, and that's one of them. Anyway.
While we're bitching about things, can we quickly jump over to merchandise?
Merchandise, yes, we can do that.
I love that new Fujitsu top. I don't know if anyone's seen the boys trading in the new Fujitsu top, and yet I cannot find it. Have you?
Well, it's on the Bomber Shop, but the little plane logo is a lot smaller on the one that's available. It's either the image is wrong, or there's just a separation between fan gear and player gear.
Yep.
But yeah, we don't seem to do it great.
Well, I struggle. You know me, I like a trucker cap.
Yeah, you do like your trucker cap.
And they will not release a decent trucker cap with just a nice logo on it. Like every logo, like they can really make our logo look pox sometimes at the Essendon Football Club. Like this one, I'm okay with, but it's not my favorite.
I really love that outline of the plane though. Just the outline. I love that minimalistic.
Yep, 100%. That's all I need is just the little black. Like if it's black, just do it as a red or a grey. Even I'll deal with the grey.
Timing wise, we probably shouldn't have gone to that before I talked about the things that the club are giving us to give away.
We love the club.
We do.
We're just giving feedback.
And honestly, I mean, it's
honest feedback
to say we would spend more money if there was more options. So
I would wear more Essendon stuff. It's just that I'm not wearing training footy gear. Like I'm, walking around the day.
I'm not wearing singlets generally.
No, and I'm not, and I wouldn't wear like the like the collar t-shirt, the T one with the all the logos and stuff all over it, just on a normal day. I'm looking for more like a t-shirt that like what's the brand that? Oh no, I think it's one of our sponsors, and The Rock does it as well. It's his brand. It's that Under Armour. Yeah, Under Armour, which is one of our. They seem to be a sponsor.
They make the things, I think.
But why can't I just get an Under Armour t-shirt with just like a simple Essendon logo on it?
Don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. That's it. That's all
I agree. Even going to games now, I wear very little Essendon stuff because there's just not stuff that I like to wear. Like, I'll wear my scarf generally.
Yep.
That identifies me as, hey, I go for Essendon. But yeah, I'm not.
And it's easy to put in your pocket if it all goes pear-shaped.
If it all goes tits up, you can just chuck it on the ground and leave it there.
I've got so many of them.
I've got enough of them.
Get one every year as a member.
15 years of membership. Yeah, Christ. I was going to get Mum to make it into a blanket, but that seems to have died by the wayside. So, just got 17 scarves. Anyway, one of the worst segues we've ever done, but giveaway. So we've been in conversation and we've been promised some things to give away, and all I will say is retro, which I think is really exciting because it's from a time when we were very good. It's from a time where a lot of people will have players from that team that just are hard to top. They're all-time favourite players for people.
Arguably the best team to ever play a year of football.
Correct. Around that time, James Hird, who, happy birthday, Jim, turns 51 today.
51.
Happy birthday to Nathan's child, which I'm sure is the only reason why Nathan knows.
It's the only reason I do, birthday. My son's birthday today, which somehow he shares the birthday with James Hird, which I do love. Somehow that happened. I didn't plan that.
As long as you know that it's Hird's birthday based on your son, not that you know it's your son's birthday based on it being Hirdy's.
No, I know which way it works. I can't remember how something popped up. It was James Hird, but I went, no, that's the same as Patrick's. Oh, look at that. That's easy to remember.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday, Patty. Happy birthday to Jim, if you're listening.
Of course he would be.
Sure you are.
Massive fan, I'm sure.
So, yeah, stay tuned for the giveaway. I've got to actually get out to the club and grab it. But once again, the club have been amazing in just responding and giving us some stuff. So
now that you're a city kid.
Yeah, I'm a city slicker. So if
just
you
pop down to the training zone
on TikTok or on YouTube, go and follow the club's socials. It helps them, and that in turn then helps us. So do that. Right, on to the football.
So.
We've been chatting for 10 minutes. I reckon that's a good time to start talking about the thing people are here for.
Yep.
In no particular order, I think injuries is a big one we need to chat about because, and I'm going to touch all the wood in this room. Only one major injury thus far, and that is Jaden Hunter. So I think absolutely awful for the man. But if you were going to pick a player to have an ACL injury, if you had to, hands behind your back, gun to your head sort of scenario.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
It impacts the team in the least way possible. For the man himself, it's awful, and you want everyone to be fit, of course. But so far, we've had
was doing some stuff in the preseason too. It was looking,
he looks
saw
like
some...
a capable player, really.
Yeah.
From the one VFL game we got before he injured himself.
It'll be interesting to see what the club does with him because I imagine he would have been on a 1 year contract. The knee will take 12 months. So
yeah.
Look,
for him, I hope he gets a chance. But overall, list health quite good. Stringer's basically trained the entire preseason. Who is one who doesn't usually do that.
Yeah.
And I can't really think. I think Dersma came in with a minor injury and was with the recovery group for a bit, but is fine now. He had a practice match yesterday and he played.
Yep.
I understand the full game. So.
Yep. Well, Draper's about the main one, and obviously Shield, but I think we would agree that we don't know where Shield fits into that 23 anyway. Like
Shield wasn't even there. Yeah, that's right.
Shield's been injured he's pretty serious. Wiedemann's been injured, but he was back playing again on the weekend.
And Draper's still just running to full training though, wasn't he?
Yeah, Draper. Yeah, sounds like he's not far off joining into every activity.
Yeah, okay.
And then I guess the other one's Wanganeen, again, not a big issue. Because
you don't want any of your players to be injured.
No, but I don't mind it if they're guys that are in the guys outside the 23, sort of.
About this time last year, Peter Wright was missing half the year with his shoulder, and that was soul crushing. So,
and the other exciting one too is that Alwyn Davey he's been into the training too. He's been in the practice games and looking pretty good too. So, because he missed all of last year, getting over a knee injury from his junior career. I think it was his second knee.
You mean Jaden Davey then?
Jaden, sorry. Oh, did I say Alwyn?
You said Alwyn.
Sorry, I apologise.
Yep.
Yeah, Jaden. So Jaden's been at training.
Jaden was still in the moon boot when best and fairest time, so October. So, fit list, especially when we are in a time when we're trying to build depth. I think Brad Scott's talked about the fact we need to be building depth. You need a fit list, and not that we're going to be winning a flag this year by any stretch of the imagination, but teams that win flags have good runs with injuries. They use less players every year than other clubs use, so it's just nice. It's nice.
And if I could just to finish that sort of train of thought too, I think that the guys that are really exciting to us are there's Reed has done all the sessions and is looking absolutely golden. Like,
I think I gushed about Reed last time we recorded because met him at the BNF, and
we're very excited about him.
Huge,
205 centimetre man.
I've stood next to Draper. I've stood next to Peter Wright, but Zach Reed, you just look up and go, "Holy shit!"
Well, there was a bit of footage of him running out of the back line in the practice game yesterday, bouncing the ball. How many 205 centimetre guys just sprint along and bounce the ball like that easily? And you're thinking there was another thing I saw on Twitter or something like that, whereas they had the list of the tallest players in the AFL. And, there's not many, I think there's a couple of other defenders in there, but he's in extreme rare space.
Calm and quiet. Like he hasn't got, and this is from very limited interactions, obviously, but he doesn't have that footballer nature. Like, I was hanging around with a couple of different people at the BNF, and he must have known one of them because he met them by name, but he's quite happy to stand there and take a photo. Very softly spoken, very quiet, but just tall.
Just tall.
I can't get over it. I've never had that standing next to these people.
And while we're talking about really big things, Cox is going well too.
Glad you added the X on that, not just...
Well, he is very tall.
He is tall.
He's 2 meters.
Yeah, grow up, Sam. Yep.
Yeah, grow up, Sam. So he's trained a lot too, which has been great. It's just, there's pretty much a full list at the moment that they're going to go into. Touch wood again, very much. Every piece of wood around
this
I'm
could
touching.
Change tomorrow, which hopefully we get this out before that happens.
Yep. And so guys like Stringer, who barely ever, if he can get through to round 1 and have had a full preseason, well, that's a totally different situation for us compared to the last what, 2 or 3 years,
Do you
where
think
he
that
he has an injury and he has to work himself back into form.
does that reflect on the changes, the coaching staff, the standards amongst the players that's the case?
I think so. I think I hope so. I guess
Mm.
like with the new guy who came over from Rosa. Is it
Yeah,
Rosa?
Rosa, the list manager, to
Yep.
replace Dodoro.
Apparently, he's had a bit of influence in that sort of stuff.
Even the
And
CEO,
that
Vozo.
yeah, and the players have pushed a lot of that. Like
Yeah.
a lot of them went off and did their own training camps. So I hope and look, the thing that we've been frustrated with at Essendon for a long time is development. A lot of our players just didn't seem to get better, or
Mm.
they sort of stalled at certain stages. The thing that you can really hope that from a couple of full pre-seasons of guys just ticking along, playing, and then training, is that development will start to happen because you're not going back a step and back and being injured.
Particularly if you looked at us and tried to not have a biased lens, as we all do, and you said what was the single best thing about the playing group at the moment? They're young and exciting.
Yeah,
There's talent. But if you don't
the age
develop
demographic.
talent, you get nothing. You end up with Braden Hams. Sorry, Braden, if you're listening.
No, he wouldn't listen.
Don't think so. You end up with a lot of those players where you look at and they had moments early on. You go, oh yeah, this could be a player, and then they just have panned out to be absolutely nothing in the AFL world. So I think we're seeing that. I think, and this is a nice little segue into Nate Caddy that I want to talk about because he seems to be the one setting the world on fire. There was footage a week or two ago of him taking a really big grab that everyone just lost their shit over, which I will say, be careful losing your shit over one single mark, but it's just nice.
This is what we do, Sam.
He looks good.
Yeah.
That kid can play and, bit of development and he'll all of a sudden be a very good player, not just a kid that had potential that didn't pan out.
And what sounds really good about him too is that he's not overly tall, but he's got this beautiful mark and leap. But it's also when the ball hits the ground, he's really active, like pressuring, tackling, and because of his size, he's not tall, he's very mobile and stuff like that. He sounds like a really good package.
Which, package 2.0.
Could he be?
Although different players, different heights rather, and different players.
Could be a new package.
Danaher, that was Danaher's greatest strength and still is in a very good side. He's able to compete in the air and he's also able to compete on the ground.
Yep.
Which makes you very valuable as a tall forward. Like,
and I'm
not that I like to talk about Judas, but
no, we don't like to talk. We don't. I'm really excited really interested, I should say, about how our talls will pan out this year with like Caddy, and Jones.
There's a lot of players to squeeze in, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. And if we play the two rucks like we did last year, because do you need to do that if you've got Wright and say Jones playing and say a Stringer as well or a Langford? So Langford will definitely be there. Wright will be there. Maybe Jones or Caddy, whichever one of those. Do you need a second ruckman in there? Or do you expect that, Wright could go up and ruck for a little bit. Langford and Caddy can cover that extra tall. I wonder how all that demographic will show out, all that sort of situations will show out.
I mean, not that I know that was rhetorical, but having only one genuine tall in Wright. Langford's 193, Caddy's 193.
Yep.
Jones is a bit taller.
Well, Jones is 198 or 199, I'm pretty sure.
So he's up there. Okay, so we've got the two really big tools. But I think you can't play all of them and include Stringer in that as well. You and you are both the same on that we want to see the kids. So we want to see Caddy play.
Yep.
But, a forward line of Peter Wright, Langford, Jones, Stringer, Caddy, that's too tall. Way too tall.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think it's Caddy or Jones.
Yeah, so
I don't think it's both.
What are we going to... Like, that's going to be fascinating what happens then.
That's a flip of a coin. That's whoever's training better, whoever's adding more to the team, that's the coach's decision, and I'm happy for them to, they pick that.
Yeah.
For me, it's one of them, and then it's Stringer, because Stringer still adds so much. Like, he goes forward, but, goes in the midfield, but he adds so much to a forward line that it's really dangerous.
He's actually fit. How good.
Yeah, well, that's right, fit. And then you had Menzies and Gresham, who's the one we haven't really talked about. Gresham will be a massive, massive bonus in that because of that pace and tackling and pressure and all that he'll add, which will be far better than, say, the young Davey that was just,
bit green,
just too young for that last year.
Yeah,
and that's fine. He was just first year player.
To
But yeah, I'm very excited about how all that pans out.
Yeah. So to continue on with your question about the ruckman, I think we'll play two. I think we've seen enough from Scott to go, we're going to play two ruckman, which I'm perfectly okay with, because if the alternative is playing Peter Wright in the ruck, then I don't want to do it.
Okay, fair enough. Yep.
Especially if it is either Caddy or Jones next to him, he just provides a bit of protection, if nothing else. He's the bigger body, takes the number one defender.
We're talking about Peter Wright. Yeah.
If Peter Wright's in the ruck, number one defender's no longer on Peter Wright. Then Langford by extension. So you've got two very good forwards taking away two very good defenders, presumably.
But then to flip that, and you pick two ruckmen, and both those ruckmen are on the ground at one stage with Peter Wright and Jones,
becomes a bit tall.
It's like you say it's Draper and I will have that conversation in a second. Say it's Draper and Goldstein. Goldstein's not. We saw him North Melbourne try and use him as a forward. He was okay, fine, but he wasn't anything that you'd go, that's a
overly keen.
Yeah, no. Not like a Maxi Gorn can be very dangerous down there. So I don't know. That's the thing. And then you're really tall, and that's an extra spot on the bench. That's not a midfielder or a small forward or a small defender So I think that's the $1 million.
You get away with it a little bit because of the 193s. I think if you were going to play, say, perfect world, you play Draper, and we'll just say Brian for the sake of argument, and Jones.
Yep.
One of those two pretty much on the bench permanently. And we saw that with Brian last year playing 30% game time.
Yep, that's true.
That maybe it's about exposure. But that's also the thinking for season 2023 was about, one, Brad Scott figuring shit out. Fair enough.
Yep.
Two, the players figuring shit out. This year, 2024, might be a little different, might be a little bit more, hey, we won, I don't remember, 10 games, 9 games, whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Where we didn't really know what the fuck was going on. And now we know what's going on. So, sorry, Nick, you're going to be playing in the twos because we've got Goldstein and we actually think we can finish top 6. I don't know. That's just a...
Yeah, I don't know. I still... My mind would be that they play one ruckman and it's not Draper until he's fully fit. Yep, and in that he might even play a VFL game or two, to be honest, before he comes back. Because, and the reason I say that is because you've got Goldstein, who has rucked by himself forever and can do it. And you've also got Nick Bryant, who rucked in the VFL by himself, basically, with a couple of tiny little headouts from other things. So I still think my mind would be I'd play one ruckman because I've got Peter Wright, because I've got... And if something goes wrong, you've got, like we just talked about, Reed could even somehow come in. He's 205 centimetres. He could come in and at least just cover, in a game if something went wrong. Like, there's a guy that you could swing a few around.
I think you'd still be looking at key forwards. You don't see a lot of backmen pitching in the ruck.
No, you don't. But that's because you don't see a lot of key backmen at 205 centimetres either.
This is true. This is a classic.
We've got Mackay down there now, who's 200 and
big dog.
Something.
We'll talk about him in a second. Don't get too far ahead of me.
Sorry.
I think this is a classic example that we have constantly, even when we're talking amongst ourselves, in that it's what we think should happen and then what we think the club will do. So your theory around having one ruckman is perfectly valid, but I'm more on the track that I think this is what Brad Scott wants to play. He wants to play two ruckmen.
Yep.
If I did any sort of research, I could have looked back to when he was coaching North Melbourne, because he would have coached Todd Goldstein.
Well, he would have had Petrie, I reckon. Him, Goldstein and Petrie, sorry.
Oh, same thing.
Which would have been a great backup ruckman, Drew Petrie, because he rucked by himself at West Coast.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And there's a lot of tools to fit in that forward line. And then as you're rightfully saying that there's a lot, then you've got to factor in the ruckman. So just last thing on the ruckman then.
Yep.
Draper, well, for this example, we'll play one ruckman and Draper's not fit.
Draper's still injured, yep.
Who are you playing?
Well, great question. I'm going to go with Nick Bryant.
Okay. I would go Goldstein. And again, that's the classic, you're doing what you want to do and I'm doing what I think the club will do.
Look at you as a club.
Well,
Patsy. No, that's not
it kind of happens all the time. So we're used to it. Second part of that question then.
I don't think you're wrong. I just,
never wrong. The second part of that question then, Draper's fit and we're going to play 2 ruckmen. Who are you playing as the second ruck? See, and I expect you to say Goldstein the first time.
Yeah.
And I would say
I'm going to go
Brian the second time.
Well, I'm going to say Bryant there, definitely, because
so
I've seen stuff from Bryant that shows he can be a forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like as in just to get
agile.
up and do something. He's very agile. Goldstein is not agile. That's not the right English, but
double negative, yeah.
Double negatives, yeah. But I don't understand the point of having a 20, I'm going to say 4-year-old, whatever Brian is, on your list.
So my next question then in
your
mind...
And then playing the 35-year-old.
Yeah. What is the point of the 35-year-old if we're going to play one ruckman, it's not Goldstein, and we're going to play 2 ruckmen and neither of them are Goldstein?
Well, surely we got him on the list to say, look, mate, if Draper, if the injury that he's got, which he had when the draft was happening, if that's worse than what we think, because it could be, like it might be worse than what they're letting on, and it could bust again, whatever that hip and issues are. That then you've got a 35-year-old ready to go. That's when you say, Goldie, you're in for a run.
Okay. So
whereas I hope he's picked as a backup to the backups. Like
what we're seeing from these practice matches, though, is Goldstein being fairly dominant and instrumental in a lot of improvement in that midfield group.
But from what I'm reading is that Draper's beating him on some games. Like they're saying that Draper actually, Brian has beaten him in some of the games.
15 years on him. It'd be interesting. Obviously, we don't know the answer, and it's not often that Nathan and I disagree on anything other than his beard. Still not okay with that. It'll be interesting. I don't see the point of us having Goldstein if he's not in either of those scenarios. So I think if we were going to play one ruckman only and Draper's not fit, then it's Goldie. I don't see a world where it's Draper and Goldstein if we're going to play 2.
Yep.
That's
I'm not disagreeing. I think the club will do that. I'm just saying what I would do. And that's all. I'm just saying, why not?
All right. Fair enough.
While we're on positions and stuff like that, can I bring up that the move of our boy, to the half back line, which can I also say, I was calling for something like this last year. I don't want to.
Not that I want to tell everyone I was right or anything. I
want to tell everyone that I know some stuff. No, but last year I was calling like what I think I'm seeing it. I was seeing it in a lot of other clubs. Like Collingwood were doing it with Dacos, and other clubs were doing it. They were sending really good kickers down to that halfback position, and and just using them there, trying to get them free and being used to set them up.
Yes.
And our problem was that we had like guys like Kelly and a couple other. Well,
why'd you mention him?
BZT, who weren't great kickers, and Red Dog's fine. McGrath's a bit rough. Guys that we did like Baldwin, weren't probably getting games. He's a good kicker. Yeah. So I can see that the reason behind the move of Martin, because he sees the game really well, and we've seen that in the short time he's played. He's got good pace, good disposal. So I understand that, and I'm fascinated. And I guess the other part of that too is that with the Dersma arriving in a wingman, him and Duz would take the wings, and does Martin then get pushed this halfback as just a winger halfbacker?
It could be a real, and this pains me to say, a real Nick Dacos role.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Dacos came in as a draftee, played halfback. Like a lot of draftees do that. It's not.
Yep. Sheasel did it really well for North Melbourne last year.
It's not just that they've decided to move a midfielder to the defence or the halfback line.
And I've heard that Reed, what's his name, that young Harley Reed's going to do it at West Coast too.
It's a good position to come in and play. Dyson Heppel did it with the view to move him into the midfield, but never really happened in any length of term. But anyway, two key points you mentioned there. One is that there's one less spot in that midfield now because of or one less spot on the wing particularly. And 2, my natural reaction to moving him to the back line is that he's one of our better goal-kicking mids. But that's why I say he can do a real Nick Dacos role, because Dacos had a bit of freedom and could pop up with a goal or two, which is what made him so valuable. So if nothing else, he's probably the best decision maker combined with kick at the club.
Yep. Oh, and Merritt, probably. Merritt's up there.
Merritt's up there, but Rusty really has that ability to let the game move past him. Yep. The Pendlebury style thing of just stopping. Yep.
Must have played basketball when he was younger.
Assessing, and I do love Pendles, despite the fact he plays for Collingwood. So
you've got many faults. That's one of them.
Yeah, you can't not like them. Yeah. Anyway, so I think it's a good move, and from all reports, again with the match sims and all that, he's been important. He's been critical in moving that ball off halfback, and he's the one you say take the risky kick. Red Dog, maybe less so. Everyone else, no. You're either giving it to Martin or you're finding an easy target 30 metres up the wing.
And Reed and is a very good kicker too. So that's another plus for him in that role.
You don't expect your tools to be super kicks. It's not their
Dustin
job.
Fletcher was one of the better kicks to ever play the game.
It's not a requirement.
No,
they need to be able to kick. They shouldn't drop the ball and miss their foot.
No AFL player should do that, Sam.
But you're not expecting them to take on a 45 kick into the middle of the ground and open up the whole game. That is reserved for your halfbackers, and we haven't had a halfback. Redmond did it occasionally, but I think went into his shell if it got turned over.
Well, I still think Redmond's attribute there is the carry. That he wants to carry the ball, not kick it. He wants to run and carry.
It will
use his pace to split the game open instead.
It will be interesting on the point of Dacos kicking goals and using Marto in that role, in that Redmond already plays that role. Redmond's able to get around the back and kick goals. So there's a bit of balance required there because we can go back.
We can't all be running up the other end kicking goals.
No, that's right. Sard and the Irishman.
McKenna.
Thank you. McKenna. Where their best attributes of our defensive line was that they're attacking. We can't have too much of that. No. It's too much. But
because they were always up the other end of the ground.
Yes, which consequently we were shocking in defence. Yep. So balance, but Marto is the kind of guy that you just go, he'll figure it out. He seems to see the game so well.
From what you've seen so far this year, what you've read this year, and I'm looking forward to the St Kilda practice game, which I'm sure will be on
St Kilda or whatever. Are about where we're
very good
to be, yeah.
It's a great test.
As a general feel, they overachieved last year, but
they overachieve every year, really. What's your expectation for the Bombers this year?
I love that we're doing this. We've got a run sheet that Nathan and I can both see, and Nathan's just introducing topics. It's fantastic.
You don't want to tell people this. It makes it sound...
It's such a novelty. It's such a novelty. You've stolen two of my segues now, but I'm happy I don't have to think about it all the time. Sorry for ruining the magic there.
The magic has ruined people. We're never doing it again.
General expectations. So two things for me. One is pre-season's always hype. Every single club trains the house down and we're fit and we're healthy. Not always reflective of then what you see in round one. Two, we talked about it at length towards the end of last year and in our review podcasts that about the same will be nice. If we win 10 games, acknowledging that in that we have a tougher draw because we're in that middle six of teams, not the bottom six. I think we're doing okay. And even though it's the same number of wins because of the whole the fixture thing, it will be a better result. I just want to see I want to see round one. I want to see Mackay and Reid as the two big defenders.
Yep.
The forward line, I'm happy for them to mess with because there's a lot of players to squeeze in there. That's okay. The rucks, I'm happy for them to faddle with that. But defence, I don't want to see Laverde as number 2. Sorry, Lav. I want to see Flogguts. What's his name? Mackay.
Baldwin.
Sorry, Mackay, Reid, Ridley. Ridley the third.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're in good shape. I don't want to see Jake Kelly ever again.
Oh, God, no. I don't want to see Jake Kelly in this seniors team unless something's gone
just don't want to see
horribly wrong with every other player.
I just don't want to see him.
He has been wearing the black training top when they played Reds versus Blacks, which is a bit of a concern.
Don't read too much into it. If he has to play, I don't want to see Heppel Kelly and Laverde in the same side. It's
Yep.
so boring. It's so slow. Two of them I'll kind of accept, preferably just one, and preferably that would be Heppel.
Well, I'd accept Laverde for his height and his marking and strength.
And a rotation,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and the rotation because
I'll
of
cop that too, but
yeah, and like if Baldwin's injured, then I think there's a competition between Baldwin and Laverde. I would argue because Reed's clearly, I think, by himself,
I also
and Mackay's clearly by himself.
Mackay, you'd hope to get a full season out of, maybe miss one
Yeah,
or two. I will cop on the chin that Reed won't play every game. If we get half a season of AFL out of Reed, then
if we get 18, it'd be unreal.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was trying to be realistic. So there's going to be rotation, and that's why you have players like Laverde and Baldwin.
And Hunter.
And Hunter, yeah.
Oh, well, Hunter's not. Sorry. What's the other young tall?
Defender.
Come on. Yep. Don't tell me.
Okay, I'm just going to keep talking.
Hayes.
Hayes. Yes, good job. Good boy. You know, if Reed plays 4 or 5 games in a row and we're sitting at like 10th or 9th and we're playing bottom side at home, then you go, all right, Lav, you come in. We're going to manage Reed because he's got a history of injury. That's okay. I'm talking round 1, we're playing Hawthorn. We want to win that because it's Hawthorn.
Yeah, it's Hawthorn. We're going to beat those teams.
Not that Reed's maybe the best player, but if you have Mackay and Reed, that's
Mackay and Reed well, Mackay's 25 or so, isn't he?
Yeah, around that.
Yep. So that's 5, 7. We're talking 8 years of those two should be playing together at least. Mm-hmm. That should be our 2 tall defenders for the next 8 years.
Yeah, and I think that makes our backline so much better. And
even 1, it's consistent. 2, they're just big lumps of lads that can really control the game from the air.
BZT was really great at the very minimal Dustin Fletcher kind of role of the long arm. He could spoil it from a little way back. Oh, my light just fell down. That's not good. Anyone not watching on YouTube's got no idea what just went on then. But anyway.
But what you want is some players to mark the ball because you want you want to get control of the football back in that half back line like good teams do, and then control the game from back there and then come forward again.
Yeah, sorry.
That's where you set yourself up.
Yes, that's right. I was coming where I was going with that. That light falling scared the absolute bejesus out of me. Yeah, watch that in slow mo. And now I'm just holding it because I can't make it.
No, that's right. Well, I think we both agree. So for me, my expectation this year is that we will win the grand final. Probably undefeated season. No. I actually think we've got a chance to win that final that we've been so horribly, painfully. I reckon I personally think we can do that. Win the final. Win a final.
And how do you see us doing that? So for me, when I think about us winning a final, we have to be top 6.
Oh, well, yes, that's where I see us. I see, here's my vision, is I see that the midfield, like the Setterfields, the Parishes, the guys we don't talk a lot about, they have that year. Like Stringer plays a full year. Imagine if Stringer plays a full year, Parish plays a full year, Setterfield, Merritt, all these guys play full years. Hobbs comes along a bit more. Perkins has his good year. Peter Wright kicks 40 or 50. Langford kicks 40 or 50. I just see it all turning this year. We've had enough. We've had enough bad luck. I've had enough shit. It's this year it turns. The worm turns.
And how much of that then do you think comes from the club just being in a much better position off field?
Yes, exactly. And that's what I think it is. I think in the last 12 months, we've started to see that off field. Like there was the period, a while ago when the board were making the news and all that sort of stuff. I hate that when the board's making the news. I always think that's a bad sign of the club.
Should be just off in the background, minding their own business. Yep.
They shouldn't be making the news. But, we're getting players. We're having our first, and I know this is stupid, our first preseason where players aren't injured. And I think that's a massive plus. And I think and I've always said this, the list has talent. That talent just needs to be fit and firing all together, and they will beat some teams.
And we do have a lot of the pieces. Again, I'm not suggesting flags or anything of major success, but at the moment, success for us would just be winning a final. we got the jigsaw pieces. So you've got your key defender
Yep.
in Mackay. One.
Yep.
Big tick. You've got your good midfielders. You've got one of the best midfilders in the game, Zach Merritt, surrounded by another guy who can finish fifth in the Brownlow in Parish, among other decent players. And then we've also now got two very good key forwards in Wright and Langford. Langford's a bit more of a
and
question
guys coming through like Caddy and Jones. Who Caddy could be anything.
Caddy could be a freak.
Now, here's how I put it, Sam. There was a list in the AFL the other day about the players at the end of this year who are on the market.
Free agents. That's actually someone we mentioned in our defensive chat was McGrath.
Yep. And free agents, and the big ones I noted were English from the Dogs, and I think Smith was also from the Dogs, and then there was a few other players, and I was like, so I looked through it and I go, now where do we need a player? And I thought, well, we don't. Like, I wouldn't, if it got to the end of this year and say we didn't win a final, but say we had your example, we win 10 and that. Still wouldn't say, we're screaming out for
There's not a gaping hole. 12 months ago, we were sitting here talking about wingers.
We need, we need defenders. We need tall defenders.
If Reed can play, then we're okay. If we didn't have Reed playing, if it was Mackay Laverde, I'd still think we're short of tall.
Yep, I agree with that. But if Reed plays the whole year and gets to the end, then I'm like, that problem solved.
We've got a very good ruckman in Draper who seems to get no recognition around the traps. But anyway,
but we don't. I wouldn't go after English, for example.
No
need. Nope. Because I think Brian's is good too.
If we've got good delivery and not just bombing it on his head, Peter Wright's a very good forward.
Yep.
You look at Collingwood's forward line that won the flag. There's not really a super dangerous tall. It was Mason friggin' Cox.
Yeah.
Darcy Cameron. Was that Darcy Cameron? Cameron, the ruckman?
Yeah, the ruckman, yep.
The damaging was the run and carry, which then makes your forward line so much more dangerous.
The Norm Smith.
Yeah, Bobby Hill.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping to, I think, address over in the future is probably just those couple of ultra classy, and I hope that Gresham can be that. Maybe one of the Davey boys can be that. That's probably would be the ultra classy small forward.
And again, it's what you get out of your bottom six that matters.
Yeah, it always is. Yep.
We've so often had these bottom six where you go, Jesus, he had 2 touches. Like, Christ.
Yep. And we know we've got the top end talent, like guys like Parish who we just mentioned. He was 3 off a Brownlow. Merritt, they're not far off winning Brownlow. Those guys in good years. Even
Merritt doesn't seem to get the love he deserves from anyone other than fantasy because he's so consistent.
Yep.
The tackle he made on Alir against Port.
Yeah.
Alir's a big dude.
Yep.
Big, strong dude. Zach's probably strong, but he's not tall by any stretch. Just absolute shirt front.
Yeah.
And took him. I just love that. Anyway,
so that's my feel on it. And of course, at the end of the year, all that could be poop. But I feel we've had enough of that poop that for the last year. I feel like we're still being punished. You know how karma. There's a karma. I believe in karma trains, and I reckon we've had enough of it. It's time for the good one.
Yeah. And again, I don't like to reference our arch nemesis too much, but Carlton, even at the midway point of 23, they were cooked. And they ended up playing some of the most exciting football.
They won 2 finals.
And made a prelim and were very good in that prelim, just beaten by a better side.
Yep.
You hold your hands up and go, fair enough. I'm sure they might not, but as an impartial.
They nearly made a grand final.
From absolute shit mid-season, not even pre-season.
No.
Middle part of the year.
Their coach was nearly sacked by about round 8.
Yeah. There were memberships in the microwave, everything.
Yep.
It can turn, and it can turn very quickly. They probably have a slightly more developed list, and that's fair enough.
Yep. So and I think they have a good list too when you look through their players.
Yeah, and that's what the issue was, that you go, geez, they got some bloody good players.
Yeah.
And that's why we're not sitting here going, well, prelims or grand finals, but we're thinking elimination final.
I think,
get a home game, or at least, finish 7th and not get another Melbourne team at the G.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. So
that's
again,
all I'm saying.
We could be sitting here in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's too soon, but
we'll get flogged by Hawthorn in round 1, and we'll go.
We'll be on
burn
here
everything!
saying how shit we are. But we did it a couple of years ago. There was a practice match I remember distinctly at the hangar against the Western Bulldogs, and there was just one key play where we had these defensive line, and it was just a beautiful line in the camera, and they were putting pressure on, they were doing everything, and it was just beautiful to watch. And it might have been in Trucks last year, 2 years ago, and we were so excited about this defensive setup that we had, and finished the year in fourth last. Truck got sacked, and the biggest glaring issue was transition and goals out the back and our team defence. So
was that the year we got flogged by by Geelong in the first round?
Yep, that was that one, and we finished the year getting flogged by Richmond in Hurley's last game. That was that one.
Yep, that was horrible.
So what I'm trying to say, grain of salt.
Well, I think we're better than that.
But if we came on here and talks shit for 45 minutes, no one would listen.
Yep.
So, all right. That was good. I was a bit apprehensive about doing a podcast at this point in time. So, Nath gave me some valid points and we pushed through, and I think that was good. So,
yeah, I think it's been really good.
We'll probably wait until after the Geelong game, I think, to wrap both pre-season games, unless there's anything major to talk about in the St Kilda one. The St Kilda one is not AFL sanctioned. It's just literally two clubs saying, let's play a game of footy.
I think if we can both watch it, I reckon we probably could have a chat about it. It could be just a brief 45-minute one.
Yep. See how we go. We don't want to be doing content just for the sake of it. So
no, but I reckon there certainly will be some strategy that we've just discussed in this last sort of 45 minutes that we'll see or not see in that game, and we'll take something from that.
Yep. Very good. And then when we do come back, Nathan will have his beard back, and all will be well in the world.
Get a fake one
we'll have some more information on the giveaways. Again, TikTok and YouTube for the official Essendon accounts.
Yep.
And thank you for tuning in. We're back, 2024. Go Dons.
Go Bombers.